guys, you know, I'm on my way to work today, not fishing, which is unfortunate, but I'm thinking about my boat and my kayak and how it's really good that I had a kayak first before I got a boat. The reason I think it was a good idea to get the kayak first is because it taught me about what it's like to be on the water and how the weather affects you and how to choose your spots carefully. A lot of times I see guys with boats and they're going from here to there and they're all over the place and they're not taking their time and relaxing and certainly not enjoying the scenery as much as kayakers do. And overall, they're just kind of, I think, missing out on the experience a little bit. And I wonder if it's because they didn't start out as kayakers. I mean, that reminds me of when I first got a car. You know, when I first got a car, I didn't get anything fast or fancy. My first car was a 1986 Ford Tempo. It had a little 5-speed on it. And I didn't know how to drive a stick shift, but I knew I wanted to. That was funny. I mean, here I was still in high school, got my first car, got my license, and I couldn't drive my car because I didn't know how to drive a stick shift. That was pretty funny. But it paid off in the long run because I eventually got myself an old hot rod. I got a 64 Chevy Impala, and it had a Corvette motor in it. It was a 350 that was worked, and it had a 4-speed Borg-Warner transmission. That was just, what a difference. I thought I knew how to drive a stick shift when I got that car. But I had to learn to drive all over again because this thing had so much horsepower, it was ridiculous. But starting out simple really taught me the basics and enabled me to drive that car without having too many problems. Just kind of like getting a kayak first and then graduating up to a boat. I knew some guys in high school that had come from more affluent families, and they got fancy and fast cars right out of the box. They got their license, and without much driving experience at all, they got, you know, about then it was like the early to mid 90s Mustangs that had the 5.0s. These kids were getting these cars and they were just way too fast and they were getting in trouble. I mean, they were getting into accidents, all kinds of speeding tickets and problems because they didn't know what they were doing. And I started out simple, so when the time came for me to have a fast car, and I used to beat them with my 19-foot long Impala. And that car was just wicked fast. But I never had an accident with that vehicle because, partly because I think I learned on the simple car first, on that simple 5-speed. Just like my kayak is a simple kind of boat. I just wanted to get that thought across because I've only gone out a few times in my boat and already I'm starting to see benefits from having kayaked first, because I know exactly where the low spots are. I see guys in motorboats all the time. They come zooming in on a flat and I'm looking at them, I'm like, where are they going? And next thing you know, whoo, you know, the dust is all over the place, or grass and mud, and it's like, how did, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm never going to run aground with my boat, but I'm surely going to be a lot more cautious having kayaked and knowing where the low spots are. That's a big advantage to scouting areas out first on a kayak. And also, I mean, there were a few spots, because it's a small boat, where I know I can get, because I've been there with the kayak, and I feel like I've got a lot of advantages because I started out simply. So although a lot of people are not happy with the fact that I have gotten myself a motorboat, it's just, I mean, it's a part of fishing. I mean, you know, if you're gonna fish, you need a motorboat sometimes. But I think having kayaked, I'll be able to show you guys from time to time why it's actually beneficial to have started out with a kayak. So for anybody out there worried that I'm giving up kayaking for good, you need not worry. I'm definitely not giving up the kayak, and I'm wishing I was kayaking right now, to be honest with you. Just the other day, after work, I got it in my head that I wanted to go out fishing real quick, and kayaking was definitely the way to do it. Within about 30 minutes of having that thought, boom, I was on the water. And I discussed some of the pros and cons while I was out there. So let me go to work, and I'll leave you with some snippets from that trip that I took just the other day. There's something nice about how when you stop paddling, everything just shuts off. And it's perfectly quiet. You can see little shadows in the water. You can't make them out so good because you're low on the water, but you're really much higher in the John boat. Standing, you can see almost as good, probably as good as you can on the John boat. Thanks to my little pontoon fellas there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But on the kayak, there's just a magic to it. There's a simplicity that's lost when you got the big motor and you know you're drafting more water and there are regulations and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, you got to be ready to do a little workout when you're using a paddle instead of a gas motor. This is just absolutely phenomenal. And another good thing about coming out on the kayak versus the boat is that I got off work a little bit early, so spur of the moment, boom, I went fishing, just like that. I mean, you can't just up and go with the boat. There's always something. You gotta hook up the trailer and you gotta, I don't know. Some people might be able to put a John boat in the water really fast, but to me it seems like a big deal. You come back, you got to rinse the motor out. Everything just seems so much simpler on a kayak. I'm definitely not giving it up soon. You know, another thing too, the tide is really low. I didn't even bother checking. I was just like, you know what, I got the opportunity, I'm going. But if I'd done that, there's no way I would have been able to fish this flat, which is really alive right now. Might just be mullet, I don't know, but I wouldn't be able to come here when the tide was this low if I had my John boat. It's another nice thing about kayaking. You know, fishing, go. Doesn't matter what the tide is, as long as it's not too windy. you can come out and have a great time. Yeah, there's definitely an innocence about being on a kayak. Kind of like a kid when he's young and he's driving around on a bicycle. You know, he can go up on the sidewalk, he can go wherever he wants. Doesn't have to worry about the cops stopping him because he was speeding or because he was going the wrong way or, you know, because he was had a little drink or something. And being on a kayak is free and easy. And all you got to worry about is catching a fish and not getting caught out in horrible weather. Oh boy, wind knots. But you definitely need to, you know, think about water safety. You don't want to be, you know, blitzed on the water by any means. Especially if you have to drive home at the end of the day. You know. But you know, I'm a grown man. I know what I'm capable of. I can have a beer and you know, an hour later or something, I'm good to go. Conscious of these things, despite what it may look like. I'm a responsible dude. And that being said, I mean, there's really not too much you gotta think about or worry about when you're on a kayak. And buying that boat has certainly helped me out as far as appreciating that. It was a tremendous deal getting that boat. At least I think so. And I'm happy to have it. It was cool to bring the dogs out the other day, and I'll have video of that up soon. And I'll be able to get to better, well, not better, but more spots that I wouldn't normally be able to get to on a kayak. Or if I'm just feeling tired or whatever, you know. Certainly easier to motor around than to paddle around. My day job is very physical, so there are certainly days where I'm feeling a little out of it and would rather just twist the throttle than dig the paddle. So that jumbo's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely not giving this up though. Something nice about this, you know. Feel like taking a break, you can come stand on shore, walk around, appreciate the trees and the beauty that is the flats here in Florida. I feel like on the boat you're kind of stuck on there. You're just like, I mean business, I'm here to fish and that's it, you know. Whereas a kayak you can just lounge around, put your feet up and enjoy what nature has to offer you. So again, don't you worry. I won't be quitting this kayak and stuff anytime soon.